All right. All right. Here we are. We're live. We are live. So, hey, everybody. Welcome to The Blueprint. I am your host, Tarek Ibrahim, and this is my first live. Now, it's actually my second live because the first one recorded so poorly. I didn't have the guts to really release it into the wild, wild west. So, here we are. Hopefully, a much better audio, much better video, much better everything. So, bear with me as we get adjusted here. So, everyone, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. This is going to be a great show where we talk about Canadian politics, we talk about some marketing, and we have a good time while we're doing it at the same time. So, for everyone just tuning in, I am Tarek Ibrahim, 15 years plus of marketing and government relations experience here to lay my lay to the land, to claim this place as Canada, to be part of the fun, to have a good time, and ultimately just share with you my thoughts, right? And I think that the important part of here is, and why I'm doing this, it alludes to a show that we recently recorded where I basically said that my personality has been kind of void from a lot of my videos. So I don't really get to share enough with you guys where I make these pretty good, pretty insightful, political insight videos. But at the same time, it's just, I felt it was just so dull, so boring sometimes. And that my own personal personality, my own little flavor, my own thoughts, my insanity never really got it to get out there. So today we're going to try it out in a live format where I'll be able to talk a little bit longer, share my thoughts a little bit longer, and hopefully be able to just be real with you guys, level with you guys a bit. And I think that's what everybody wants. Everybody just wants to feel like they're talking to the real person. So I am actually Tarek Ibrahim. I am actually the CEO of IG Strategies, and I am actually going live now. Due to the fact that I was traveling quite a bit today, it is now midnight, and I am sure there is not a single soul in the world watching. But for what it's worth, I have committed to the idea of going live today, and therefore, by gone it, I will go live today. So thank you so much, everyone, for that's watching. If you're catching this post live, so basically you've woken up and you found this incredible video by Tarek Ibrahim, definitely like it, definitely comment and subscribe, please. Makes really, really a huge difference for me. I've decided to take this task on myself to create this content and create this channel just because I said, I've done this so many times for so many of my clients. Maybe it's about time I do it myself. So here I am having a good time with you guys. And the first thing that I really wanted to talk to you guys about was the Federal Reserve here in Canada and in the US, ironically enough, has actually lowered the interest rates. And this is a big, big, big thing, right? Because they jacked up the interest rates so high during COVID that now they're trying to stimulate the economy. And the way they're stimulating the economy is because they're noticing people aren't really buying a lot of stuff. Now, this is very obvious things to everybody that like interest rates are high, people aren't buying houses, the market is basically getting really, really stagnant. Tariffs with America, people have a lot of uncertainty. So they hope by lowering interest rate a quarter point, which is basically nothing, this will boost the economy. Now, the problem is that the only problem, right? Like, is that the reason why the housing market's slow? And you know what? No, I really don't think it is, and I have my own theories. And I guess since this is a live, I might as well just share these theories with you guys. But we had so many immigrants in Canada over the past 4 years. Like, there was just so many people coming into Canada, driving these housing prices so high so fast, right? That's something you have to take into consideration, that the housing prices jumped so quickly, so fast. Everybody was renting, and there was a lot of people in Canada. And people were very upset about that. Conservatives on the right, super upset about that. We're losing our identity. We're losing our country, blah, 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 blah. And all very true. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, when you pull up with what Tim Hortons, very staple thing in Canada, for those not in Canada, very staple. Like, you pull up your controller, give me a double double, give me my two cream. Everyone's ordering what they want, right? But when you pull up to a Tim Hortons, and as a family, as a person with parents that were immigrants, I don't mean this in any disrespectful way, but when you pull up to the Tim Hortons drive-through and you have no clue what is being said to you, what's going on, and Tim Hortons always had that nice thing about it, that it's like, hey hon, what can I get for you? Would you like a muffin with it? Always super duper, like, old lady friendly type thing. Like that was always the vibe I used to always get at Tim Hortons. Like that's how I thought Tim Hortons was. Hey, hon, what can I get for you? Would you like a bagel? Like always super friendly. Now, like I don't know what they're saying at the beginning. I don't even know if they've confirmed my order properly. Like the whole thing has just become a maze, right? And again, okay, but now when you have this situation where okay, we're gonna get rid of all these immigrants, we're gonna freeze immigration. Okay, well then who's gonna buy all the houses that just got built? Oh, we're gonna increase interest rate as well, so no one can even afford it. So now there's no one buying them, no one can afford to buy them, and we're gonna drop interest rates 1/4% to move the economy. The hell are we doing here? Like, does that even make sense? Like, look, I get it. Everyone got nervous about all the immigrants coming in, and everyone's like, oh my god, immigrants, blah blah blah. Yeah, well, now universities are half full. Now every business is laying off people because that demand of people created so much work. Like there were so many more people here, right? So now everybody got deported. Nobody's renewing visas, and I get it, but like, so like now what, right? Like, okay, so we got rid of all these people. Wh- what, like, how does that economy go back? Like, you got every business that I talk to because we deal with a bunch of businesses, right? Everyone got used to serving this amount of people, this giant populace of people. So they expanded their work, they expanded their factories, they expanded their labor force, they bought new trucks, they renovated their buildings. A lot of money went into dealing with this giant amount of new immigrants that came in. There was just so much infrastructure that was made for it. People started renting their houses and sure got a little messy, renting bedrooms, renting closets. Like it was like Canada wasn't ready for it. But the problem is people adapted. Homeowners adapted. Small businesses adapted. So everyone took the hit and said, okay, we took it in stride and we're going to make it work. And they really tried to make it work. Then the government's like, man, this is just the housing is just getting out of control. Houses that used to be $100,000 is now $700,000. Houses that were $1 million are now $3 million. This is crazy. This can't happen in just 4 years. What is going on here? Yeah, but sure, that is all crazy. But now, even when you drop the interest rates, what's going to happen now? Like, what is actually going to happen that now you drop the interest rates? So you drop the interest rates, okay. There's still no people. Canada remains empty. And when I'm with one of my clients and we actually talk about the fertility rates, and we talk about the reproduction health of North America, people aren't even having babies, right? So between no immigrants, no babies, how do we fix this problem? Because this is going to be a huge, huge problem, and no one's doing anything to fix it. No one realizes how severe of a problem it is. It's not about the jobs. It's not about people taking jobs. It's just we got used to a certain amount of people. Colleges, universities were making so much money, hands over fist with these international students, and now they're all going to be in major deficits. So the question is, what are people doing to handle that? And lowering the interest rates by a quarter ain't gonna fix it, right? So I'm happy they're trying to quote unquote stimulate the economy, but that's not gonna stimulate anything. Like if I want to buy a house for $3 million or $2 million or $600,000, whatever the number may be, that 1/4% of interest that does not really affect my decision making. Now, it may affect people applying to get a new mortgage for sure. Now the threshold got a little bit lower, so okay, maybe you can apply, maybe you can get it. Cross your fingers, right? Maybe you got it. Maybe you ski away from that, but is that the goal of what we're trying to do? Like, are we stimulating the economy or are we just wasting people's time? You want to stimulate the economy? Just drop the interest rate already. Just drop it. Drop it to something for real. Drop it to what it was during COVID. Drop it to like 1%, 0%. Drop it to nothing. Let people live. Let people live. So, you know, it's something, but it's just a press release, right? At the end of the day, lowering the interest rates is really doing nothing more than just saying we lowered interest rates. I don't think this stimulates the economy in any way. And at the rate they're going, they're really waiting it for it to hit the fan. And that's super annoying because we all live here and we all want to have a good life. And at the rate they're moving, good life is going to be hard to find. So that's the interest rate story. The next story, which is actually completely insane, is the tariff situation with Canada and the US. And this is actually getting so out of hand. But for all intents and purposes, it is wild. Like it is like the wild, wild west when it comes to this tariff situation. And let me tell you, like, as a spectator, as someone that, you know, does government work and works with the government and works with the premier's office and works with the prime minister's office, what's going on? Like Canada and the US, like look, I'm from Windsor, Ontario, Canada, right? So we are like really, really, really Detroit, more or less. Like I remember being a kid, we used to have the antennas on our TV, and all the television stations that I used to watch were all American. ABC, NBC, like everyone else in Canada, you guys had you know, cable TV, Rogers, Shaw, blah, 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 blah. We're in Ontario, all we needed was an antenna, and we got all the channels from the US. Now, again, it wasn't the pay-per-views or things like that, but we got every single channel. We got Fox, we got NBC, we obviously got CBC, but you know, you take the hits as they come. And you know, and you had UPN and you had Channel 50, Channel 56, TVO, PBS. You had so many of these American channels, right? So like we are really the unofficial 51st state. Like, just let's just be real about that for a minute. Like Canada, America, we are very, very, very much similar, right? So when there's this giant drama in the world between Canada and America, I'm just thinking to myself, like, what are we talking about here? Like Canada, America, how many bridges do we have connecting one another, right? Like how, like it takes seconds to cross from one country to another. Same language, very similar labor laws, very similar wages. Everything's so bloody similar. Same food, same everything's the same. Companies that are in America are in Canada. Companies that are in Canada are in America. Like it is just, it's the same. So for the entire world to be watching this octagon match, this World Wrestling Federational Championship title belt battle between the US and Canada is just really getting ridiculous. Like, can somebody please tell me what's going on here? Like, can somebody please wake me up from this nightmare and tell me why are we acting like these countries are so different when we all know they are so, so similar. So that's the first thing, right? Like what is this tariff about? Like usually when you have these tariffs, right, you're to protect your country from, like, you know, cheap labor as an example. So they make it for 5 cents in China, so we want to make it so it's fair for our workers. So okay, you know, 500% tariffs as an example, right? Canada, America, like what? Like, you know what I mean, guys? Like, what are we actually talking about here? It doesn't make any sense. But that's the situation that we're in. Like, we are in this giant tariff war right now, and it is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But the funny part is now it's like the entire level of government, like every level of government now is involved in this wild tariff situation, right? So of course Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, he's all in on this tariff thing. He made his reelection during this tariff battle, saying that he will protect Ontario. And that's his claim to fame. He ran the election, won the election, and his job is to protect Ontario. Great. Mark Carney shows up. Mark Carney's like, I'm going to protect Canada. We're going to do this thing right. We're going to make sure every Canadian's safe. We're going to save our economy, blah, 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 blah. He also wins the election. So everything's relying on the elections, right? Everything's relying on protecting Canada, as it should, right? Like this is our country. Like, what else are we gonna do, right? Like, there's no other option for us here. So, okay, now we're gonna protect Canada. Fantastic. Then what happens? Nothing. Nothing else happens. Tariffs keep happening. Prices keep going up, and it's like, what's going on here? So today, the latest news is Doug Ford is demanding an apology from the ambassador. He is demanding this apology. He wants the Americans to apologize for being so rude to the Canadian ambassador. And I think it's worth mentioning that what's going on here, right? Doug Ford releases this advertisement, right? This what $75 million advertisement, this giant campaign. He releases this giant campaign where he plays Ronald Reagan, the American president. He plays his speech. And his speech, ultimately, he's saying that tariffs don't do anything, right? That's the main gist of it. That tariffs don't do anything, and therefore we don't have to do tariffs, especially with our neighbors in Canada. That's what Doug Ford did. He made this campaign ad, and basically it's just like copy paste. Here's the ad, run with it, right? It's just Ronald Reagan's speech. That's all it is. It's Ronald Reagan's speech. The American president gets so offended, calls it fake, calls it AI, and says, you know what, Canada, we're done talking. We're not going to play any fair anymore. We're going to give you another 10% tariffs. We're going to increase your tariffs 10%, and we're all done here. What just happened? That is a quote from your previous presidents. That quote is already on YouTube. Everyone in the world can find it. So there's nothing actually new. The only new part is it aired during the playoffs during baseball, right? That people could see it. It was a commercial. It was meant to serve the populace so everyone could see it and realize that, you know, these tariffs really aren't doing much. Trump gets so upset and he basically sets off this chain reaction within his staff, within all his members, and they go to a gala and they are just talking mad smack about Canada. And this catches the ears of Doug Ford. And Doug Ford is furious. How dare they insult the ambassador? How dare they talk about us this way? I demand an apology. And that's basically what's happening right now, that there's an actual demand, a demand for an apology. Unbelievable, right? Like, you know, and I think, to be fair, I do think Doug Ford is actually playing it right. Like when they did the commercial, he says that Carney approved it. He said that this was approved by all levels of the government, and they decided to release it. And I have no reason not to believe that. Like I don't think anybody is miscalculating or thinking that the American president, the American government is something that we can toy with, that it's something that we can kind of see, wait and see, play around with and see how well it is, or, you know, let me just take this leap of faith, if you will, and like I don't really care about the end results. No, I'm quite convinced everybody cares about their end results. I think everybody is strategically measuring every single input and output to make sure whether or not this thing is worth it. Right. I firmly believe that is what's going on here. So Ronald Reagan makes his speech, says tariffs are useless. Doug Ford puts it into a commercial. You know, that should be the resounding message, that Doug Ford thought that this was a silly thing. It doesn't need to go any further. American government says no. American government says this is a scandal. How dare you insult our integrity? This is absolutely AI. This is fake. We're done. We're done negotiating tariffs. 10%. Deal with it, Canada. We're done. And that's usually how it goes. But for the first time, I think ever, like this is like a diplomatic nightmare, right? Because you have every level of government basically in the in the line of fire, right? You have ambassadors in trouble, you have ministers in trouble, you have prime ministers in trouble, you have premiers in trouble, like even government officials that don't usually like, you know, interrelate with one another. Like, what's the ambassador have to do with their premier? Like, the whole thing is just such a mess right now. And it's just so wild to see this because this never actually happens. Like, I've never heard about the premier speaking to the ambassador. Like, there's just so many lines of government that usually don't really mix, and they're all just mixing right now. And it is crazy to see this, right? But I I applaud, and I think it's very, very honorable of Ford to basically say he demands an apology, that the people of Canada deserve an apology, that you cannot disrespect the nation in this public forum. And yeah, He's right. Who the hell are you guys to disrespect us Canadians? Like, where does the nerve get off? Like, okay, you don't like this, you don't like that your former president said it, but it's not like it was our opinion, right? Like, this is your former president's opinion of what tariffs are. Like, that is what it is. Like, you don't like it, you don't like it. You think it was a sneaky trick? Okay, it's a sneaky trick, but like, you can't insult a whole nation, right? Like, that's a whole another line, right? That's a whole other crossing. So, also very weak, to be honest. Like, poorly played, I would say. This is poorly played, especially like we're dealing with like the biggest neighbors of any nation. Like, this is the longest land mass border in the world. Like, all the trade in the world is happening literally between Windsor and America. Like my hometown is literally responsible for like almost all the trade. Why is there so much beef? Like, why so much drama? Like, come on, figure it out already, guys. Like, it cannot be this difficult. Like, it just cannot be. So, anyways, I wanted to share my thoughts there because I thought that was also super important to share with you guys today. And then lastly, um, I have one more really important thing to say, and this is more related to the public relations bit of it also. If you don't know, again, Tarek Ibrahim, that's me, marketing, public relations, government relations. And the final story today, and I think this is good advice, right? I think this is going to be really good advice. I think people will like this. Super thirsty. It is 12:23 a.m. So this is quite late for a live. So again, I thank anyone for watching. If you happen to pop in here and you saw the show, you know, appreciate a like, appreciate a follow, appreciate a subscribe because we're going to drop some real good knowledge here. So lastly, I was in a closed door meeting with the CEO, CMO of this big of a company, let's call it that, company ABC. And company ABC convinces me that I need to work with them, convincing me that they'll pay me very well, convincing me that it's going to be a great opportunity for you and you're going to grow a lot, you're going to meet a lot of people, and this will really catapult your agency. And I'm all in. And then the CMO starts talking, and I start getting this vibe. And I pride myself, really. I pride myself on just like reading the room, reading the facial reactions, reading people. And this guy was definitely giving me a certain vibe. And I said to myself, don't really like this guy, right? He didn't really say anything wrong yet, but the vibe was just so bad. So he's like, look, we're going to pay you whatever you think this job is worth. So automatically, my mind, I'm like, perfect. Love to hear that. But we need this campaign up and running in 15 days. Now, if you've done public relations before, if you've done any sort of campaign work before, 15 days is not an option. So I asked them, do we have a website? No. Do we have any sort of branding? No. Do we have a logo? No. What do we got? Nothing. Do we have videos? No. Do we have models? No. Do we have anything to actually sell this bloody product? No, we have nothing. But you can do it. So we will pay you whatever you want. You just got to do it. And of course, it has to be successful. Like, this campaign has to work. It has to get revenue. It has to make money. It has to do everything we want it to do. But 15 days for you to do it, Tarek. 15 days to do it. Who uses your product? I don't know. Who's your company base? I don't know. How many of these have you sold before? We haven't sold any yet. So, like, how are we going to do this in 15 days again? You're a good guy. You're smart. You're creative. You figure that out for us. But hey, don't worry, we'll pay you. So I'm like so annoyed because literally I have to do the entire product. Like, I have to make an entire product, sell an entire product, brand an entire product, market an entire product in 15 days. So if any of you are watching this right now thinking to yourself, that sounds impossible. Yeah, it is impossible. It's absolutely impossible. Now, if you want to do a really shoddy job, sure, you could do a really shoddy job with no approvals, Just run it. And if you don't care about the results, it'll work. The problem is in this industry, you know, it's really important. And I think this goes to any industry and for anybody working is your reputation. You can do shoddy work all your life and not get noticed for it. But the minute people are relying on you to do that job, people are counting on you to do that job, people are expecting you to win, then the only option for you is to actually win. So when this proposition comes up to me and I see the money's good. I see the opportunity, potentially good. See the timeline, impossible. Like actually impossible. So I tell them, guys, I think this isn't enough time. No, it's good. You could do it. We believe in you. Yeah, but we can't do it. It doesn't work. You cannot do this. Okay, like, can I at least try the product out? Let me see the product. Oh, we don't actually even have the product yet. You don't have the product yet? No, we just want to make pre-orders for it. All right, well, do you have like a sample you can show me? No. You see this? I am being baited. I am being set up to fail. That's the only way I can read this. This is actually, hey Tarek, how do you fail? How do you ruin your company? How do you ruin the lives of all your employees? Taking on this job. So even though the money was good, the opportunity is good, everything actually is good, except the people I'm working with had this unrealistic expectation. And I told them, guys, I don't think this will work. I don't think we can do this. Why? You came so highly recommended. Everyone says you're so great. Yeah. Just because I'm great doesn't mean that this actually makes any sense. Like even to do the marketing research, just to do the research, just to understand who your competitors are, that takes time. To make a website that you will actually like, to make a website that you think is related to your branding, related to the people that will like it, based on the research we've done, how is that going to happen in 15 days? Merchant, do you have a credit card provider? Do you have someone that's going to process these transactions? No. So what do you got? We know we have a tight deadline because we have these events and we want to plan this out and we want to make sure that on January we have this and in February we have this. So in order to make February and January happen, we need to make this happen now. Sorry guys, there's no way I can do it. There's just no way. It's just not realistic. There's just no way this can be done. I wish you all the best. Here to help you anytime you want, but I can't do it. And I basically walked out of the meeting because it's, guys, you have to understand something. Your reputation in this industry and in any industry you do is the most important thing, because when you do a job and you do it right, people will tell you that story. People will be like, hey, you know what? They won't broadcast it too much, right? Like nobody actually likes to give props, right? Nobody's giving props because they like you, right? It's just like, hey, I'm looking for somebody. Do you know anyone? Oh, you know what? I worked with Tarek one time. He's good. That's usually how it goes. But if you do a lousy job, like if you suck, they will be so happy. They will be so happy to sip tea and say, you know what? This guy was so bad. He took all our money. He promised that he could do it in 15 days and he didn't. Now you went from the guy that was thinking you're going to help them out, that, you told them it was quote unquote an impossible job, but they just insisted. You took that, ran with it, couldn't do it because you knew it was impossible from the beginning, but because you didn't want to quote unquote let the job go, or you didn't want to miss out on the money, quote unquote, you took the job and ruined your reputation, right? You literally killed yourself for money that was completely not worth it. So don't do it. Don't make that mistake. Read the room properly, know your worth, know what it is that you're actually signing up to, and then and only then take the job. Do not do it in any other order, right? That is my most sincere advice. This is the thing that I see over and over again, is that sometimes the clients just have no freaking clue what they're talking about. They have no clue what they're talking about. The expectations are not realistic. And your job is to actually say, hey man, not possible. what you're asking is actually impossible. Like people always dream, right? It's okay to dream. It's okay for people to say, "Hey, I want to build a house in 1 week." Like, sure, sounds like a great idea. Who wouldn't want that? But you know what? You can't. No matter how much money you throw at it, the house will never be built in 1 week. You can get all the builders from all over the world, but some things take time. Paint takes time to dry. Foundations take time to dry. Land takes time to settle. Roofing takes time. Chimneys take time. Getting appliances take time. Things take time. No matter how much you rush, things will take time. And when you're doing a marketing campaign and you want it to succeed, there are things that are going to take time. Testing, artwork, video, editing, websites, merchant services take time. And in 2 weeks, the best thing you can do, smile and say thanks, but no thanks. And that is the first episode of the Blueprint Live. Hope you guys liked it. I see somebody signed up, somebody smiled, somebody gave me a thumbs up. Thumbs up. Thank you so much. One more thing I want to share with you guys. So the NDP in Canada are having a really hard time because they have no clue what they're doing anymore, right? That's ultimately what's going on. They have this leadership race that they're trying to do, and they're trying to reinvent themselves, and they're finding out that more and more people from the NDP are basically going to the conservatives, that the working class of the NDP has switched sides and now they are conservatives. And there is no better example than all of southwestern Ontario. I remember when I saw this on the map, I lost my mind, right? And it's because the NDP have always been the party of the working class. They've always been the blue collar party. They've always been the party that represents labor. And, power to them. Great. You know what I mean? Like everybody needs their representatives, everybody needs their voice. And yeah, why not? You know what I mean? But what ended up happening is because the NDP went, how do I put this politely, so left, they went left of left, that the people that were like, center left, or they were even right, but, they were labor, they kind of felt like they couldn't relate to the party anymore. And this is something that people in politics really underestimate, is that your party already has a base, whether you like to admit it or not. Every party has their fundamental base, right? And you can see this very, very much so, and a lot more profoundly in the US, where like a lot of the parties have their hegemonic blend of people. Like this is who goes here, this is who goes here. So the conservatives, everybody knows what it looks like to be a conservative. Everybody knows what the liberals look like. Everybody knows what the NDP looks like. Everybody knows what the Green Party looks like. So everyone knows these things, right? Everyone knows it. But what happened recently with the NDP is they played too much of this, the politics of gender, the politics of race, the politics of individualism, right? So in playing in these areas, they actually alienated their fundamental base. And their fundamental base, and that's the thing that always surprised me with the NDP, was that their base being majority labor, majority union workers, if you meet with these people, and again, my home city is like, chock full of NDP supporters, these are not socially left leaning people. I've never felt that. That's why I was always so confused in my city. I'm like, every person I meet in the city is so right wing in their own social identity. Like nobody, it is really, sometimes you think to yourself, this is a super racist city. Like, but it is really, really that way, right? Like a lot of people in labor are right wing. Like that's the way it is. They are just leaning right on all social issues. They lean left on labor issues, but they definitely lean right on these social issues. So now the NDP lost it, right? They lost all of Windsor. They lost Chatham. They lost so much of southwestern Ontario. And I think this is a huge problem from the NDP. And they are acknowledging this problem right now. But the challenge is, how do they get these back from the conservatives? Because the conservatives scooped it up. Like for the first time ever, my entire county, right, the county of Essex, was all blue. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen, because all my life, my 40 let's call it 43, 43. Let's call it 43 years. For my entire 43 years, I've never seen this writing blue ever. It has been orange forever. And I was actually so annoyed that it was always orange, right? Like I just couldn't stand why on earth is this writing always orange? It drove me nuts. Like I just said, what is so orange about this city? This isn't some super duper hippie city that everyone's going left leaning. No, this is I could not read the city this way. And then finally, instead of turning liberal, which I thought for sure it would, once Mark Carney showed himself, I thought, okay, they're going to finally go liberal now. At least it'll be like, one of the major parties. It went conservative. And I was so shocked because, like, what happened? But clearly, the NDP alienated enough of their base that their base said enough's enough. So I don't know if it's the union leaders themselves that have lost favor with the NDP. I don't know if the constituents themselves that has lost favor with the NDP. But all I know for sure is the NDP has went so far left in terms of their identity politics that it alienated so much of their core voters that they just switched sides. So the elections next will be very interesting to see because do the NDP regain these seats or are these forever blue seats? Right. And again, the funniest thing about all of that, of course, is that Pierre won all these federal seats. He won literally all of these federal seats, but he lost his own seat. But that's a conversation for another time altogether, right? That is just the funniest thing. So, like, technically, what did all these conservatives vote for at that time? Like, Pierre technically lost his seat. Pierre's still under review. Pierre might not have his seat anymore. So then, what happens to all these votes? Does these votes even make sense now? Whole other subject. Whole other subject. But thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I am so happy to have made my first live. I've been telling my clients all the time to make their live videos and they've always done it. And once they've done it, they've always been happy. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found this to be extremely unique and exciting. And again, at the same time, a little bit of insight into Tarek Ibrahim and my own personal thoughts and personal reflections on these subjects. It's trying to be a little bit more lively, trying to be a little bit more genuine, trying to be a little bit more relatable. So I hope you guys did like it. Please thumbs up, please likes, please shares. And we will see you again next time on the Blue Plurt Live. Thank you so much.